This is how you turn on the lights on the Ava Lights Tiger Touch. So all you gotta do is just press this black button down for like 2 seconds and then your board will turn on. All right, when we get to this screen, what we're gonna wanna do next is just hit postpone, okay, and then your system will boot up. All right, this is how you turn on a cue list. So first what you're gonna wanna do is find the cue list you're gonna pull up. In this case, we're gonna use one. You'll bring the fader up, then you'll navigate to this red button titled Go. And when you click this, your cue list will start. Okay. Now, during worship, you're gonna want wash. So, wash is usually one of the last 2 faders on the right, and all you have to do is just push the fader up and not hit click go because it's already on. So this is it up and down. If you are at the North Knox campus, this is how you turn on the baptism light. So baptism is located on this fader right here, which will turn on the baptism light near the left of the stage. And then whenever you bring the fader down, it will turn off. For haze at the North Knox campus, what you want to do is just press this haze button and your haze will turn on. If you are at the Blount campus, you are going to want to ask your worship director how to do these things. Okay, so this is how you change the view on the actual screen of the Tiger Touch. So if you are designing a song, you'll want to find the design workspace and hit it, and then it'll pull up your lights, your colors, and the positions that you can put them in. If you want to go to your cue view, look at your cue list. If you're operating on a Sunday, you can do that by hitting cue view. And if you ever need, if it's ever blank and you need to go back to one of these, all you can hit is design or cue view or whatever you need. Now, to create a cue list, what you want to do is find record, hit the record button. It'll bring up this menu on the right of the screen. You'll want to hit create cue list, select where you want it. So we're just going to hit in the middle for this. And now you have a cue list. After this, what you want to hit is playback options. Select the cue list. It'll bring up this menu. What we're going to do is we're going to go to playback options on the middle of the screen. I'm going to hit fader and then change the mode to intensity kill at 0. If you don't do this, your cue list will not turn off when you bring the fader down. Now, after this, in order to name our cue list, right now it's just titled cue list, what we want to do is select set legend under playback options, set legend, select the cue list, and type what we want to title it. So I'm going to name it example. And now you have your cue list. Okay, so if you are coming in on a Sunday or to program and you need to find old songs, what you want to do is go hit playback on the right. It'll bring up this playback menu, and then you can navigate between all of these songs to find the one you want. Another way to do this, if this button's not working, you can hit open workspace window and find active playbacks. If you are operating and you accidentally hit a fader that you didn't mean to, like in this case, in order to fix this, whenever you bring it down, it will go to your new cue list. We don't want it to do that. So in order to connect it back to the old one, what you want to do is find release, which is right here. You'll select this button, the blue. After you do that, you'll want to find connect cue, and then select the cue list you want to go to. Now when I hit go, it'll go to medium instead of the next song. All right, when you are operating, if you want to go between different parts of your cue list, what you want to do is press previous step, next step, and you will cycle through them. Now, the light blue is the cue you are currently on, and the dark blue is the one you're going to go to next. So if I wanted to jump from low to big, I would hit next step, and then I would hit go. And now, I am now on the big cue. And you can continue to cycle these throughout the entirety of the song. If you are ever coming in after someone else's program for you and you can't find the correct page to cycle through them, you can just press plus minus on playback page and you can find weekend or students or whatever you're trying to find in here. Now, after you are done programming, for example, or before you turn off the board, what you want to do is find disk, which is right here. You want to hit it twice, and now it will save your show. That way it won't be deleted next time you turn it on. Go. Then before you turn off your board, what you want to do is hit release, and it will turn off everything in your room. And then you are good to hit the power button. This is how you move from one cue list to the other when operating on a Sunday. So let's say you are in walk-in/countdown and you're about to go into your first song of worship. What you're gonna do is nearing the end of the countdown, you'll bring up your second cue list. And then when the song starts with the tracks in your ears, you'll hit go. And then your cue list for your new song will pull up. Once it's fully loaded, you can bring the old cue list down. It'll turn off, and then you can select a view for your cue list A, which should look like this, and now you are in the cue list you want to be in. When you're operating an on-track song on a Sunday or Wednesday, your cue list might look something like this, where it's titled intro, verse, chorus, bridge, bring it down. So it's important to recognize and understand what these different things mean. It's also important to look ahead in PCO and Woodshed and listen to these songs. That way you know how to program them, one, and two, so you know how to operate them. So this is what Move of God looks like at the North Knox campus. We have intro, verse, VS stands for verse, CH stands for chorus, bring it down, BID. So it's important to learn these terms. You also see TIO, which stands for take it out. And so what you want to do is listen along with the track. So your track will have a metronome in your ear, and it'll say something along the lines of chorus 2, 3, 4. After the 4 is when you'll want to hit verse or chorus, and then it'll be like verse 2, 3, 4. You'll hit verse, and that is how you kind of understand what you're looking at in a cue list. All right. If you are ever in a situation where you can't get the lights to turn off, but you need them to and you're telling them to, what you can do is select release, and then your lights will turn off. If you are ever on a menu that you do not want to be in and you want to get out of, another thing that you can do is press clear exit. I like to click between the two, and then you'll go back to the original menu or the original thing you were selecting to. Okay. Now that you have your cue list, let's make a song. I'm gonna show you an example of how to make a song. So we're gonna go to our cue list that I titled example, and it's important to know what an on-track and off-track song are. So usually for response songs, I'll do a 3 cue look. So I'm gonna tap on this cue list. This is what a 3 cue look looks like: low, medium, big. The low is kind of a still look, no movement, one color that matches the graphic. It's very important to match the graphic with the song or any other message look or anything like that. So low, medium, big, that's what an off track looks like. We'll make one of those in a minute, but first let's start by making an example on track song. So what we're gonna do first is start with verse. So I'm gonna hit design. I'm gonna find the fixtures I want to turn on. So let's turn on the R2s. Once they are highlighted like this, in order to turn them on, we need to hit locate. And so now your R2s are on the stage. All right, so now that we have our fixtures highlighted and on, what we want to do is find the color we want. So let's say, for example, today we are going to do a orange. So let's hit orange. So now my fixtures are orange. Once I have the color I want, I can go ahead and start to record it into my cue list. But first, this is very important. Your dimmer needs to needs to be highlighted. So right now it's not, so let's turn it to 100. Now that it's highlighted both on the dimmer and on the icon above it, we now need to record it into our cue list. So let's hit the cue list, make sure the menu is up, and then I'll hit record, and now the board will be flashing. You'll have the option to add a cue. You can tap anywhere in this box. So I'm just going to tap in the middle, and now I have a new cue. In order to title this cue, I'm just going to tap legend above it, and then I'm going to title it verse. After this, if I were to bring my cue up and hit go, it'll turn on instantly. So I'm going to hit go in 3, 2, 1. They instantly turn on. In order to change this, what we want to do is change the fade in time. For today, let's just do 4 seconds. So I'm going to tap this. I'm going to go to my number pad over here. I'm going to hit 4, and then I'm going to hit enter. And now I have a fade in time of 4 seconds. So if I were to pull this up, again, it'll take 4 seconds for the lights to turn on. Okay, as you can see now, the lights are facing downwards because we didn't record a position. So to do this, since the lights are already on, we do not need to locate them again. So let's hit design. I'm going to select the fixtures I want to change, all R2s. I'm going to go down to my icons on the bottom right. I'm going to hit P, which is for pan and tilt, position, pan and tilt. I'm going to move this knob up. And now you can see that my lights are moving back and forth as I use the knob. So let's find a spot where we want them. I like this, and then to pan, I'm going to move the pan, and you'll see them move out. And let's do something like this. Now, what I also like to do for fixtures like these is I'll hit B for beam, which will expand the zoom. They're kind of focused right now, and I don't love that, so we're going to zoom them out a little bit, and now they look pretty good. So once I have what I want, I'm going to hit the cue list. Now, I can either make this change and make it an entirely new cue, or I can add it to the old one. For this case, let's just add it to the old one. So to do that, you want to hit record, tap the cue you want to add it to, it'll highlight red, and when it does this, you can come to your cue exists and hit merge. And now it will be in your cue list. So now if we pull up the fader, bring it down, pull it back up, reload our cue, they'll go to the position we want them to. All right, let's say for this next part of the song, we're going to a chorus that's a little bit more upbeat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our R2s, they're already on, so I don't need to locate them. Let's say we wanna make them move left to right. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna hit Program Menu, Shapes and Effects, Shape Generator, Create, Pan/Tilt, Pan Saw, and now they are moving left and right. So what I want to do now is kind of adjust it to the way I want for the song. So let's change the spread a little bit. Now they're not going to be moving at once. They're going to be moving separately, like so. Now they are touching the sides of the curtains and the projector. We don't want that. So I'm going to bring the size down. That way they have a smaller size spread, smaller swing. Okay, now if they're moving a little bit too fast or too slow, you can change the speed, and that is just speed. So let's slow it down a little bit. Let's go to about 7, and now they're moving slower, not too fast, not too slow, just right. So now that we have what we want, I'm going to hit my cue list to pop up the view. I'm going to hit record. Now I'm going to create a new cue to go after the verse. So I'm just going to hit anywhere in the box, and now I have a new cue, and we're going to title it chorus. So legend, chorus, and then we'll change the fade in time to 4 seconds. So I'm going to go to the keypad, 4, enter. Now you have your second cue. Whenever you're done and you want the lights to go away, you can hit clear, and they will do just that. All right, when you have fixtures on, after you selected them to highlight, whenever you're done, what you're going to want to hit is clear, and that will turn off your fixtures. So again, for example, I'm going to walk you through what I'm doing. So I'm going to hit R2s, locate. They are now on the stage. Now I'm going to hit clear, And then when I do that, they'll turn off on the stage. So let's say for this song usually goes verse, chorus, bridge. Let's say for our example song, we're just going to do a verse, chorus, then to the bridge. Some bridges start more grand, others start lower. So let's say we're going to go to a low bridge. So we're actually going to copy our verse, since that is a no movement cue to match the song. So I'm going to hit copy right here. Now that it's going to copy, I'm going to copy the verse, hit verse. Now that it's red, I'm going to tap under chorus, and now I have a third cue called verse. I'm just going to tap and change it, title it bridge, and now I have the bridge. So after this, what we kind of want to do next, let's say we want to have a build cue that builds on the bridge. So I'm actually going to use the chorus as the build. So I'm going to hit copy again. I'm going to hit chorus, go to the bridge. I'm going to title this build, which sometimes it will also be called build it up, BIU. Okay, so let's say after the build, we're going to go to our final big chorus. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm actually going to go ahead and turn on the fourth cue. So I went previous step to the next cue. So now let's say we're going to make a big chorus. So let's have the colors change to match the graphics. So let's say our graphics orange and white. So to do that, I'm actually going to hit design. I'm going to select the fixtures I want, R2s. Now that they're highlighted, I'm going to go to shapes and effects. I'm going to do what's called a keyframe shape. Now this is how we make the colors change in the song. So hit create. Now you can add frames. So let's say we already have orange. So we're going to hit orange, add 2 frames of orange. You'll see them pop up in your bottom. And then I'll hit white, add frame, add 2, and then we'll finish recording frames. Now my R2s are changing color between orange and white. So this is fully customizable. So what we're going to do is change the spread. So let's hit 3, see what 3 looks like. If we go back, that is what a spread of 3 looks like. They're not all going at once. They are going a little bit fast. So I'm actually going to take the speed. Once it's highlighted, we're going to lower it. I'm going to do 10, type it on the keypad, and now I have a slower keyframe shape between orange and white. So you can also, if you want them to change instantly, you can make them snap. So here's a few options here. Right now they're crossfading. So if I were to make these all snap, they'll instantly change instead of a fade. But for this song, we're just going to do a fade. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to pull up my cue list right here. I'm going to hit record. And then I'm going to add it as the 5th cue. Now it's cue 5. And then we will name it Big Chorus. We will name it Big Chorus. Okay, another important thing to note when designing, okay, if you notice that I go to the bridge, which I want to be lower, you'll notice that the lights are actually still moving. They're panning left and right, which I don't want them to. So what you're going to want to do is use the scroll on the bottom, move over to your view shape, and you'll see a knob where it says pan saw with a T. I can turn that on and off. So I'm going to click this, and it will now turn it off. So now if I go to the bridge, there won't be any movement. And as you can see, I'm still on the light blue cue. So I'm on cue 3 that has no more movement. So if I wanted to turn off the pan saw for the big chorus, I could do that here. I'm not going to though. So now we are done with the big chorus. I'm just going to copy the verse again to make it take it out cue. Copy verse, name it take it out. And then I will turn off both of these knobs. And now when I go to take it out, there won't be any movement. And if I were to go to big chorus, you can see the movement we originally have. And that is how those are the basics of making an on-track cue list. All right, this is how you make an off-track cue list, which I recommend for response worship, where you the MD kind of decides where the song's going to go in the moment. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our already made cue list, and then let's turn on our fixture. So I'm going to hit Design, R2s, Locate, and now that they are on, I'm going to highlight my dimmer on the screen with the knob. I'm going to highlight my pan and my tilt. I like where it's at. And then I'll change the zoom as well. Now, for my color, let's do CTO. So now that they are CTO, actually like warm white more, CTO, we will hit our cue list, and I'll hit record. And now I have my first cue. And we're gonna title this low for the lower parts of the song, such as bridges and verses. Enter. And now I have that. I'm gonna change the fade in time to about 4 seconds. So I'm gonna type that in the keypad, 4, enter. And now I have my first cue for an off-track song. All right, so now that we have our low look, let's go ahead and get a medium look going. Let's start by highlighting our R2s, hitting Shapes and Effects, Keyframe Shape, Create. Instead of colors, we're going to use intensity, so I'm going to mark 100, add a few frames of that. Let's do 3, and then I'm going to go to a lower intensity. Doesn't have to be 0. Let's do 20. I'm going to add 3 frames of this. And now when I'm done, I'm going to finish recording frames. And now they're going to brighten and dim. So to change this spread, let's do a spread of 3. Now they're changing this way. Not 60. Let's do 6. So for a slower song, this is kind of a little bit too fast, so I'm going to lower the speed. Let's do about 10 seconds. You might want to match this with the BPM of your song, which can be located in PCO. Okay, so now that you have what you want, let's hit our cue list, hit record, and now we're going to create a new cue, and we'll title it mid or medium as the middle look. Enter, and now I have my second look for a off-track cue list. All right, for our final look, let's add a circle. So I'm going to highlight my R2s. I'm going to hit Shapes and Effects, Shape Generator, Create, Pan/Tilt, Circle. And now my R2s are moving in a circular motion. All right, so we'll change the spread to about, let's do 3. Now they're moving at different points. This is a big swing though, so we're gonna change the size down. Let's go to about 6, and then we'll change the speed. This is fully customizable to your song, but we can also reuse these and just change the color. So now that we have a slower circle, let's hit our cue list, hit record, and then this will be a big look. So tapped in the center, and now I'm going to type big, enter, change the fade in time to 4 seconds. And then now, let's say you come in on a Sunday and you want to actually use this, but your color actually doesn't match with the graphic, but you want to change it. What you can do is just hit Design, highlight all the fixtures you want to change the colors of. So in this case, it's just the R2s. And then let's say the graphic is cyan, so we'll hit cyan, and now my R2s are cyan. Now to record this, what we want to do is hit the cue list, hit record, and then just highlight all of them. So you can either tap the top next to the legend, or you can drag your finger across. Now that they're all highlighted, I'm just going to hit merge. Be careful not to hit replace, or else it will delete everything you had previously. So now that I'm done, I'll hit clear. Let's say we wanted to use an old playback or add a new one to the playback. So what you want to do is go ahead and go to your playback. So we'll hit the playback button. Our playbacks will be loaded. Let's say we wanted to load in Joy. Instead of hitting move, I'm actually going to hit copy. I'm going to make a new version of it. I'm going to hit Joy. And then I'm going to tap where I want it. And so now I have Joy. And then if I want to make if I want to add the cue list I just made into the playbacks, I can hit copy and do the exact same. So this is where I added the new one. That is how you add a cue list to the playbacks and make. What you're gonna wanna do is make sure you've hit disk and save your show. So we're gonna hit disk, it's gonna save our show. When it's done loading, let's make sure everything is released. So I'm gonna hit release. Make sure all of our stage lights are turned off, and now we are good to turn off the power button. So all you gotta do is just press the power button for about 2 seconds and you'll see the screen. And then once it's off, you can then put the cover on top of the console.